It's time to bring out the Western diamondback rattlesnake. Oh yeah, that is a big boy. Wow. Beautiful coloration. My goodness. That's that classic warning right there. You better back up. Don't get too close. Oh, it's flighty, all right.
Come on in. Good.
No pressure yet.
Perfect. Go ahead, come down. All right, so Coyote, work your way in here.
Okay. Wow.
Good.
That is a big snake.
That's kind of an average, 4.5 foot Western Diamondback. Of course, these guys will go over 6 feet when they're full grown. It's a beautiful, this is really the classic rattlesnake of the American West.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful snakes. It's a pretty toxic venom, and they still account for a fair amount of snake bite in North America every year. But we're gonna let this guy bite. They're typically pretty good producers.
Whoa, strong
Drop one fang, so I don't know if you can see it, but you only got a fang on the right side there. Mm-hmm. And so rattlesnakes shed their fangs. And about every 3 or 4 months, a rattlesnake will drop a fang and bring a brand new fang into its place. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's a little gap in coverage, if you will, there. So you can see this venom on the top of the vial here.
Yeah.
So the duct is still putting out venom, but there was no injection apparatus to get it into the vial.
Wow.
So we're going to pipette that off of there, move it back into the glass where it should be. In a snake like this, in a snake bite, you'd only get one fang, really, so that would be to your benefit, if that makes sense.
Very interesting.
All right, we'll go back in. If you're good, I'm ready.
I'm good, yep.
There we go. You can pull that lid back for me, good. And we're going to bring him back in the box. Perfect. And good. So now you can pick up that fang, and I don't know if you can see it, but on the front end of that fang is the hole.
Yes, I do see it.
So these guys have a beautiful hollow hypodermic needle that's perfectly adapted to injecting venom into a warm-blooded prey item.
Now, what would happen if I jabbed that into my hand? Would that be enough to pierce and put some venom into me?
Certainly be a quote-unquote envenomation. I don't think you would get enough venom to cause any real trouble, but you would certainly know you've stuck yourself with something that has more than just a pointy end.
I know what the audience is thinking right now. Dude, Coyote, let's see what happens if you get bitten by a rattlesnake thing. Not gonna happen, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that either.
So how do you feel about this yield of venom and the amount that came out of that snake? Is that enough to kill a human if antivenom was not received?
Sure. You're certainly looking at least 100 milligrams of dry weight there.
Can I hold this up?
Yep. And we think that that's probably at least one lethal dose of venom. Western Diamondback venom is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of that. About 100 milligrams is a lethal dose to an adult. Now remember, on an average bite for a snake that size, you might typically see 350 milligrams, 400 milligrams. So this was a low yield, partially because of that tooth being shed out, but it's certainly enough to really cause problems. I mean, that much Western Diamondback venom is a hospital antivenom event for sure.
Wow, that is impressive right there.
Beautiful.
All right, well, now that we've seen the power and the venom of the Western Diamondback, it's time to go East Coast.
It's time to go East Coast.
Time to bring out the Eastern Diamondback.
One of my favorites.
And we'll see whether or not the Eastern Diamondback gives us a larger yield of venom, and then we'll kind of talk about how those two snakes match up.
Sounds great, Coyote. Sounds good. There she goes. Okay.
This might be a very big
Go.
snake.
And just close up. All right, here I come. And then Mara, come on up.
Oh, wow, that is a huge snake. Holy mackerel. That's bigger than the Eastern Diamondback we milked last time.
She's a good-sized snake. She's a little bit agitated.
Yep, I can see
So
that.
we're going to try to kind of work her back to the table. Eastern Diamondbacks, right, are the largest rattlesnakes in North America, just by a little. They get over 7 feet in length. This snake is just shy of 5 feet. She's a young female. And you can get a sense of how big the head is on that rattlesnake and what she's capable of. So we're going to watch her bite, and the Eastern Diamondback is absolutely one of our favorites. It's a snake we handle lots of here at MedToxin. And of course, this venom is used in the Antivenom Project in North America. So it's an important venom to produce in fair quantities. So I'm going to shift her back a little bit. She might do it for me. And Laura's going to give her a press.
Ooh, that's a delicate little balance right there.
Okay, you're perfect. Don't Don't change anything. Good. Perfect.
Got her. Whoa. This is a very powerful snake.
And you guys tell me when you're good. Good.
Whoa.
And that's a little more significant yield, a little more in line with what's proper for a rattlesnake of that size. So that's about 500 milligrams, and one shot out. And of course, think about 100 milligrams is lethal. So you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 lethal doses of venom in one bite. And it gives you a sense, Coyote, of how potentially dangerous the eastern diamondback rattlesnake is. Snake bite from a big rattlesnake is no joke. I mean, this is an event where you're talking dozens of vials of antivenom to counteract that snake's venom.
Carl said dozens of vials of antivenom if you were bitten by a large rattlesnake with a significant yield of venom. So how much does something like that cost, you were asking? Venom can be difficult to value, but a single vial of pit viper antivenom in North America is typically around $15,000. And on average, a rattlesnake bite may need as many as 25 vials. Keep in mind, this doesn't factor in the hospital cost, which often includes emergency room treatment and several weeks spent in recovery. So when you do the math, your misfortune equates to more than $375,000.
Absolutely massive. Look at this. The snake's girth is bigger around than my arm is.
She's beautiful, huh?
It's just an amazing snake. Look at the beautiful pattern. Those diamonds. I mean, this snake is so incredible.
So we'll put this guy back, and then we'll talk a little bit about Western versus Eastern.
Okay, sounds
Great
good.
job. Thanks.
Yep.
Got her.
Thank you. You got it okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That Eastern was a little bit bigger, and that right there is enough to kill what Carl said, easily 5 human beings. One bite, 5 people. That is impressive. Okay, Carl, so when I look at that yield of venom as compared to the Western Diamondback, clearly we got more out of the Eastern Diamondback.
Sure.
So in that East Coast versus West Coast battle, I'm probably going to throw it to the East Coast as being a more dangerous snake bite when it comes to venom yield, but again, that might have to do with the snake on a particular day and the snake's size, right?
No question. And I think what we're really seeing here is, don't forget, snakes meter their venom. They decide how much they're going to inject. What you're seeing there in terms of quantity is not really capability, but decision making. You don't want to interact with a venomous snake. They don't want anything to do with you. They want to be left alone. And even though venom's primary purpose is in snakes is obtaining food, you can see that a defensive bite, which is what you're seeing here, still can be a really significant envenomation.
So both of these snakes, the Eastern Diamondback and the Western Diamondback, a bite from that snake is considered a medical emergency. It can take your life if you do not receive antivenom.